Hello everybody, thanks for stopping by today. My name is Stone Rain Productions, but please feel free to call me SRP if you'd like. And I just wanted to welcome you here today to check out the new Flip Palpatine list. I'm a big fan of the leader, so I know I have some videos on him already, but this is a little bit of a different route, and I wanted to try out a few set 6 cards to see how it would play together. So far it's been pretty decent for me, and I've been enjoying it. So I figured I'd just make a video on this and get this out to you so you could try it yourself if you'd like. We're still primarily blue, we've got a good portion of it, but we're trying out a bunch of new cards today. So I figured we'll just start at the top and go over everything. So as always, let's start off with our leader. Zoom in here a little bit, take a look. For those that don't know, Chancellor Palpatine from set 3 has the cunning and heroism aspects to start, and it starts on this side. That's important to know because it flips back and forth. So its action is exhaust. If a friendly heroism unit was defeated this phase, draw a card, heal 2 damage from your base, then flip this leader. The opposite side is cunning villainy and has action exhaust. Deal 2 damage to an opponent's base and create a trooper token. It's got the heroism aspect, so they kind of play off of each other here, and he's playing both sides. That's his tagline. Anyway, so Palpatine, I'm pairing him with blue. You might be able to get away with Colossus in this, or I could even potentially see Security Complex, so you could give a unit a shield, especially since we're going to be running the Vader unit in here. But this is a much more aggressive version of Palpatine, and it's trying to take advantage of the Palpatine flip to get more activations out of it. And the reason why I wanted to go with this is primarily because I think that this is the leader that we get the most value from in the game. It may not be as mainstream as some of the other big names like a Kuiil or a Cad Bane or Han, either one of the Han 1 or 2, things of that nature, but if we're going to be utilizing a card like Darth Traya that we'll go over later, that's going to let us flip this leader even more. And if you followed any of my other videos about him, one of the things that I mentioned is that you want to flip this leader as much as you can, and so we're trying to really hyper-emphasize that with this version of the list. So let's get in close. We'll take a look at the cards here. We're going to start off with Shien Flurry. And anybody that knows me knows that I usually play Palpatine as a soft control type of deck. So this is definitely a departure from that. We're going to go much more aggressively slanted, closer to like a mid-range style deck. There's still some control aspects to it, but primarily we're going to go mid-range. Shien Flurry is great with this version because we can play a force unit from our hand. It gains ambush for this phase. The next time it would be dealt damage, this phase prevent 2 of that damage. We've got a lot of force units in here, and it's mainly later in the curve. Darth Traya would count if we need to get something early and just defeat something, but we've got the Anakin, the Darth Vader, Luke, and Snoke, so those can all come out. We've all got pretty high numbers of these units. So force units total, we've got 3, 6, 8, 11 total units. I haven't really had a lot of problems with having this Shien Flurry stuck in my hand, and it's been pretty good. You could probably cut down to 2 if you wanted, but we're going to go with a more aggressively slanted version of this. So we still need heroic units in the early game to die, so that's kind of our plan, and we're loaded up. We've got a very solid amount of early 2-drops that we can play, so we shouldn't get stranded. Even if you did switch to like a Colossus, there's still enough early drops to support it. Got 3, 6, 9, 11, 14 total 2-drops in here that we can play. The math suggests that we would need to have, I believe, 11 or 12 if we played Colossus, but this is more than enough. We've got plenty of things that can die, but the Chandrilan sponsor 2-cost 2/3 restore 2 is going to keep us alive till we can get to that mid to late game, so we can Shien Flurry one of our big units. Kuiil is a favorite of mine with Palpatine because it gives us restore. Plus, since we're primarily on blue, we're going to be able to utilize that attack trigger. The on attack, discard a card from your deck. If it shares an aspect with your base, return it to your hand. Majority of the deck is going to be Vigilance. Just be mindful if you sideboard. We do have some cards that are not lining up with that, so you may hit less with it. But as it stands right now, I believe we've only got 7 main deck cards that are not Vigilance. 3, 6, not yet. 3, 6, 7. So, yep. Kuiil's going to hit pretty regularly here. So, restore 1, deal 2 to an opponent's base, and also draw a card is pretty fantastic. Lothwolf is great for the early aggression decks. 2 cost 3/3 with Sentinel. It can't attack. No problem there. We'll move on to Paige Tico here. She's pretty versatile for a couple reasons. We don't have a lot of vehicles in here, but she is a very good pilot. It's a 2 cost 3/2, so primarily I play her on the ground just so I can run her into something and get the Palpatine flip, plus take something out. So I use this more of a removal event, essentially. But she does have a cool piloting ability. It says attached unit gains on attack, give an experience token to this unit, then deal 1 damage to it. So we're going to keep growing that space unit, essentially, or the vehicle. Shouldn't call it space per se. It's going to keep growing. So for example, if we put it on this restored arc, it would then become a 4/5, it would attack, it would get the experience, it would become a 5/6, and get a damage on it. So it's pretty cool. Sometimes you do need that, and I've done that on the Concord Dawn Interceptor a few times where I've needed to play against space. So Restored Arc is next. 2 cost 2/3 in space. It's a vehicle with Restore 1. Again, just an early drop that we're kind of hoping to get a little bit of benefit in before it goes away. It gets defeated. More fuel for Palpatine to flip. At 3, we've got Concord Dawn Interceptor, and this is a 1/4 with Sentinel and Space Unit, and it gets +2/+0 while defending. So, not a great attacker, but it's very good at clogging up the space game. We're not really a space deck so much. This is just a way to mitigate some of the damage while we can get in and do our ground thing. Now, the primary reason why I wanted to go with this version is because of Darth Traya. 3 cost 2/5. On attack, you may ready a non-unit leader. So we have to read that carefully. Non-unit, so it can't be a unit. So what this is referring to is our leader while it's in the leader zone. So ideally what we want to do is we'll have Palpatine on the dark side, and we're going to play Traya. We're going to then flip Palpatine because we played a dark side card. That is the, I didn't mention that earlier, apologies, but the playing of a dark side card is the cost, basically, to get the action to exhaust the dark side version of it. So when this attacks, we'll be able to ready our Palpatine leader, and essentially I'm hoping that we'll be able to just flip it multiple times per turn. So if we can get this flipped twice, that would be great, and that's the primary role for this card. So ideally what we can get out of our leader, if everything goes to plan, is we gain 2 life, we draw a card, we deal 2 damage to our opponent's base, and we create a 2/2 clone token. So that's pretty darn good with this. I mean, for 3, we're just doing an attack at that point, so it's been pretty good when I can get this off. I'd say give it a try for yourself, see how you like it, but I will warn you, Palpatine is a very weird leader, and you need to get reps in with him to feel comfortable with him. When you can play light side cards, when you can play dark side cards, I should say hero or villainy, it takes a little getting used to. But once you get used to it, it shouldn't really be a big problem. Next up, we've got a couple of copies of Village Protectors. Having some key sentinels is pretty important with this list. This one's just a 3-cost 2/2 Sentinel, but it also comes in with a shield, so it's shielded, and it's good for soaking up some ground attacks. I'm sure everybody is fully aware of Power of the Dark Side. I think most people are kind of sick of this card at this point and ready for rotation, but we're still running it 3-cost, and it lets us defeat a unit, but our opponent sacrifices it of their choice. So it's still a solid card, and it's great on those opposing leader flips if we don't have anything to get rid of it, and that's the only unit that they have in play. This will take care of it. Lieutenant Chilson, 4-cost 2/2 Sentinel, and we can reveal up to 4 Vigilance cards from our hand, and for each card revealed this way, we put an experience on him. Just a classic card from set 1. I put this almost always in my Palpatine deck because it's a 6/6 Sentinel for the most part every time that you play him. It can vary, but it's just proven to be amazing. Speaking of amazing, we've got Vigilance, which is going to cost us 6 when we play this because we are not double Vigilance. And this will allow us to choose 2 in any order, discard 6 cards from an opponent's deck. Some people call this mill. That just basically means to take a card from the top of their deck and put it into their discard pile. So we get to do 6 cards from the top of our opponent's deck. Or we can heal 5 damage from a base, which is always helpful. We can defeat a unit with 3 or less remaining HP, or we can give a shield token to a unit. The shield does come into play, especially with this Vader unit that we'll talk about later. But the primary things I would say would be heal and defeat. The discard 6 cards from an opponent's deck can be helpful against control decks, and that's kind of a hedge as well too, so if we need to, we can do that. No Glory Only Results is a premier removal event for this deck, and so it lets us take care of pesky opposing units where we can. The wording on this is take control of a non-leader unit, then defeat it. There are some fringe upsides of doing this where we can get the when defeated ability of an opposing unit, and sometimes that's beneficial, but it's primarily just to get rid of difficult units. The Anakin Skywalker, this Chancellor Palpatine is probably the best deck for Anakin because it's going to almost always have heroic and villainy cards in your discard pile. And for those that don't know, 6-cost 5/7 when played. If you have a heroism card in your discard pile, you may give a unit -3/-3, and when played, if there is a villainy card in your discard pile, you can give another unit, or the same unit, -3/-3. It doesn't specify, so it could be the same unit, it could be 2 separate units. Either way, it's fine. This with Shien Flurry is just bonkers because we could potentially get 3 kills out of it. If there's 2 units on an opposing side that each have 3 hit points or less remaining, we in Shien Flurry, we send Anakin in with ambush, we prevent 2 of that damage as well. Its damage takes out something, and then we take out something with the other 2 abilities. It's just really, really, really good. Speaking of really good, Darth Vader. This card almost exclusively needs to have ambush to be amazing. And since we've got that with Shien Flurry, it seems like it's a no-doubt card to add in here. Again, for those that don't know, 6-cost, 5/6, and Vigilance Villainy. When played, give a shield token to a friendly unit and to an enemy unit. And on attack, we defeat an enemy unit with a shield token on it. We can get 2 kills with this very easily. Put a shield token on a space unit, give him ambush with Shien Flurry, have him on his attack take out the space unit, take out the ground unit. It's just such a versatile card. It's really, really, really awesome. And that's kind of the hedge where I was thinking that Security Complex could be good because we could always just reshield him up if we need to. It's after the initial blow, it's just going to be a 5/6 unless your opponent's playing a lot of shielded stuff. We don't really have a way to give shields otherwise. You could consider Lone Pike if you wanted to give opponents' units shields and go from there. which is definitely a consideration for sure. So if there's something that you are not happy about in this list, feel free to put that in. Evacuate is kind of a stall tactic if we need to, or if we want to reutilize some of our when played effects. It's a great card. I'm only doing one here. I don't think that we need a ton of effects like this, but it is still good where we can return each non-leader unit to its owner's hand. It's just a solid card. It really hasn't seen play until recently, and I still don't even think there's a lot of play now, but I think it's still a good card, and I'm glad that it's going to see some play at least. Luke Skywalker, 7 costs, 6/7 with Restore 3, and when played, give an enemy unit -3/-3 for this phase, or if a friendly unit was defeated, we can give that unit -6/-6 instead. Just a solid beater. And again, super fantastic with Shien Flurry, because realistically the way that this looks is if we've got 8 resources, we can Shien Flurry, bring in Luke, defeat something with his ability, then attack with him, restore 3, and defeat something else. It's just really good. And also, speaking of really good, Supreme Leader Snoke, if we can Shien Flurry this in, it's also great because what we're going to do with this is it is a 6/6, and it gives each enemy non-leader unit -2/-2. Sometimes this coming into play on its own is enough to defeat a board full of tokens, let's say, small units. And if we add Shien Flurry on here, we can ambush something, give everything -2/-2, and we prevent the 2 damage from Snoke. It's pretty great. On to the last row here, we've got 2 copies of Super Laser Blast, and this is just mainly for a catch-up mechanic. We've got a lot of stalling in the early game, some restoring early game. If the board gets a little out of control, we've got just 2 copies of it for now. I believe the 3rd copy's on the side. No, I don't. Okay, that's fine. We got the other Evacuate. But either way, if you're behind, you've got this. Just be mindful early game of your matchup. Sometimes you just need to keep this in your hand and resource something different. It is what it is. Avenger, 2 copies of that, is one of our finishers. We've got a lot of top end in this, and it's good if you can get to that late game, and that's why we have so many small units that restore. But Avenger, the 9 cost 8/8 in space. When played and on attack, an opponent chooses a non-leader unit they control and defeat that unit. It's a good way to clear the board. Board presence in space, dealing 8 damage. And lastly, we've got another redundant piece here, similar to Snoke with Bo-Katan Kryze. Wanted to try her in here. I haven't been able to play her yet just because this is a one-of. But when played, give each enemy unit -3/-3 for this phase. And when an enemy unit is defeated, give an experience token to a friendly unit. Just another way to kind of help get rid of our opponent's board late game. So we definitely have the late game, in my opinion, with this list, and it's kind of been that way in my testing as well. The ground units have been awesome at just kind of restoring or getting in the way until we can get to that point where we can start deploying our bigger threats. Sideboard, this is just a cursory sideboard. I didn't really do a lot of in-depth thought into it, but restock is good just in case we run into a control mirror. We can shovel cards or put cards from the bottom from our discard pile on the bottom of our deck. I almost did a slip up there. Anyway, 2 copies of Bazine, again for control, just considerations for control. Lets us look at an opponent's hand and make them discard a card. If they discard a card in this way, they get to draw another card. So anything that we see that could be problematic, we can make them discard it. 2 copies of Fell the Dragon just defeats a unit with 5 or more power. Again, big units that are just kind of in the way, we can take them out with this. Bounty Hunter Crew is another consideration for control. I know we've said for control, but it's 4 cards total. It's not terrible. And this one is probably the biggest one for us because when it's played, we get to return an event from our discard pile to our hand. That allows us to redo something like a Super Laser Blast the following turn, or a Vigilance, or even a Restock if we're in a control mirror and we're just trying to mill the other person out with Vigilance. And it also has Ambush. So if we ambush the Sin and it is defeated from that attack, we can restock it back in and keep the loop going. For aggressive decks, we've got another copy of Evacuate, return each non-leader unit to its owner's hand, 6. We've got a copy of Rival's Fall for anything that gets a little bit too big, or a leader. Potentially we can take out a leader, something like a Kuiil 5, that is troublesome to get rid of otherwise. And Redemption is kind of a hedge for the late game. For some reason, if we need to restore some health off of a unit or off of our base, we've got a big body that we can clog up the space ground with and also heal up some damage either from our base or from a unit. We can heal up to 8 total with this, so it's pretty good. And yeah, that's the list. I've been having fun with it. It's been pretty great so far. And I hope that you enjoy it, and I definitely would urge you to give it a shot. Before we step out the door, I just want to ask if you could please consider subscribing. I'm still a new content creator, definitely would help out quite a bit. And likes are very important as well too. So thanks for stopping by, my friends. One quick note, I am friends with Star Wars Dad, and I just wanted to mention that he has a tournament coming up as of the day of recording this in 3 days on October 19th. If you do not follow Star Wars Dad, definitely recommend it. I always have links to his channel. Once you go there, there's going to be an invite to Discord. The Discord has the link to the tournament. It's free to play. We're doing the first 32 players. I think that there's still a couple of spots as of right now. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. So join us if you can. And that is it. Just wanted to say, may the Force be with you, my friends, and be well. Take care. Thanks for watching.